Okay, in this video, we are now going to export our fish as an FBX file and then bring it into Unity and see if we can make this fish swim around in our terrain project. So let's go up to the file menu here. Oh, actually, let's start by making sure we have our fish selected. Let's select our fish and let's go to the file menu and we're going to say export. I'm going to export this as an FBX file. And I'll call the thing swimmingfishdemo.fbx. Call your thing like swimming fish or something, or fish.fbx. That'd be great. Okay, now, but don't go nuts here. Don't just click export. Don't jump on that button because there's some options that we want to check. Let's make sure that we have this box selected objects only checked because we don't want to export the camera, the lights, the path. We just want the fish. So we're just going to select selected objects there. And we'll leave the scale set to 1. Now, what does Unity use for its axis system? Let me think here. No, I think we want to put in, let's use Z for up and Y for forward. Let's try that. Z forward and Y forward and Z up. And let's click apply transform. I don't know what those other options do, to be honest. And then under bake animations, let's make sure that we've got that checked. And then I think we can click export. So you probably want to export this out to your folder on the X drive. And I'll export this. And it happens real fast. Okay, so I think we're good. Now let's go over to Unity. And here's my terrain project that I was working on. And you know, I probably want to use some lighter watercolors and maybe put some different textures on this stuff. This is just kind of a quick thing I was playing around with. Let's, in our assets folder here, let's create a new folder. So one of the problems with Unity or a pitfall is that when you import lots of stuff, you just end up with a garbage dump of things. And it's very important to keep stuff organized. So I'm going to right click on a blank area and say create folder. Right click on a blank area, create folder. And now I'm going to call this folder fish. So everything I put in here, this is where my fish asset's going to go so I can find all my stuff. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go over to the folder where Blender exported out my FBX file, which that's not it. Where did I export it to? Oh, God. All right, let's go back to Blender. Documents, teaching, Blender. There we go. Okay. Export FBX. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to go back to Unity. All right. So there's our FBX file, swimming fish demo. That's the FBX, and maybe I'll just rename this as fish or something. And then let's see if we can get this into Unity. So here we are in Unity. This is our fish folder, and let's pop open that, and we're going to drag our FBX file into here, and let's expand this. This is really important that we check that we want this triangle here, this thing. This is an animation right here. If I click play, see there at the bottom, we should see our fish swimming around. Oh my God, it worked. Okay, but our fish is missing the material. That's okay. We'll just take our fish material and drag it in there, and that will actually fix our problem automatically. So I'm gonna maybe turn off that water for now. Let's go make ourselves a fish. So I'm going to go drag one of my fish into the scene here. Okay, there's our fish. And now if we run our game here, the fish is not actually going to do anything. So actually what I've done is I've put my capsule collider or my character controller right next to the fish. So you can see the fish. Fish is not moving. Actually, fish is pretty big fish. All right, but we could scale it down if we really wanted to. All right, so how do we get this fish to move? So this fish right here, the one in the scene, not this fish down here, this one up here. We're going to use this as kind of our test bed fish. This is the fish that this is going to be our kind of prototype of the fish, and then we'll make more of them. So what we need to do is put an animator on this. So we're going to right click on a blank area here and then say create animator controller. Where's that? Animator controller. There we go. We're going to create animator controller, and I'm going to call it fish controller. Fish controller. There you go. Okay, so there's my animator controller. So an animator controller does exactly what you'd think it would do. It controls the animations on an object. It allows you to have an object play different animations based on what state you tell it it's in. So you can configure situations like if the health is 0, then play the dead animation, or something like that. So now we only have one animation, so this is going to be pretty simple. But what I'm going to do is double click on the controller here, and it's going to open up this animator panel, and I'm going to take my animation and drag it in here. So when this thing starts playing, the animator starts running, it's going to immediately start playing tropical fish animation, this guy here. There's going to be some issues though. So let's double click on our animation. And because we don't want the fish to play it once, or to play the animation once, we want it to keep cycling, right? So imagine if a player is dying, right? Then you don't want them to keep dying over and over again, right? They die, they fall down, and they stay down, right? So that's an animation that we just want it to play through and then stop. But this kind of animation, we want the fish to keep cycling. We want the animation to keep repeating. So to do that, we're going to click loop time and loop pose down here in the animation panel. And if you can't find this, make sure you're on you click on the clip and then go to animation. And then we can click apply. So now we have applied those changes. So now that animation will cycle. Now finally, we have to put this controller on the fish. So let's go to our fish. There's our fish. And we are now going to we're going to go to add component, and we're going to add an animator. So animators use animator controllers. Look, there's a slot here for a controller. Oh my gosh, what a coincidence. I'm going to take my fish controller, I'm going to drag it over here. So this fish is now being controlled by this animator controller. So, so let's run it and hope that it works. So I'm going to run this. And where did fish go? All right, so one thing I want to check. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go to this animator. You can see that animation is now cycling. I'm just not sure where the fish actually went to. Why is the fish way over there? I mean, it looks like it's working. It's just the fish jumped somewhere. Why did the fish go way over there? I don't know. So what's going on here is that the fish has some animation baked into it, and I've put the fish here at some coordinates. But if I run this, the fish now let's watch where the fish goes. The fish is now kind of at 0, 0, 0. It's sort of circling around there. Why is it doing that? Well, because that was where it was when we created it in Unity. And this is kind of frustrating. With other animations, you can click apply root motion, and that will fix the problem, but it doesn't do that with the fish. So if I do that, watch what happens to the fish. It just kind of spins in place. It's not what I wanted. Well, it could also be that the path is really small. I don't know. That's interesting. Let's find, there's another way to fix this though, which I'm not like super happy about, but it is kind of a commonly used strategy. Where this fish is here, I am going to create empty parent. How about that? Create empty parent. And now I'm going to call this like fish container here. So this is or maybe I'll call it fish parent. So the fish parent now contains the fish. So the fish is now going to, when it moves 0, when it cycles around 0, 0, 0, 0, whatever, it's 0, 0, 0 away from its parent. And that should fix this problem. So let me run this, and we should see fish. So that will fix the problem. So put the fish in an empty parent, and there's the trick there. Create empty parent. That's why that thing is there. And then uncheck apply root motion. Make sure you don't have that selected, and um, and we should be good to go. So now let's run this. This is just a side effect of where we put our fish in the world. But now we can take our fish. We can put our fish somewhere out, farther out in the water. Move our fish somewhere else. Now notice how it's kind of hard to move the fish because the handles are a little wonky. Up here there's a button that says global. If you click on that, notice how the handles change. That changes the axes from the world system to the fish's local axis system. So that might make it easier for you to move the fish. So now if I run this here. Oh, you know what? Okay, so this is interesting. All right. Okay, this is why I don't like working with parents. I mean, wait, that came out all wrong. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fish back at 0, 0, 0 away from so this is where it gets aggravating is now if I want to move the fish, I don't move the fish, I have to move the fish parent, and the fish will move along with it. So I want to move the fish parent. This is kind of aggravating. But now if I run this, we should see our fish swimming around there. So that was the trick with Blender, and I don't remember having to do that with 3ds Max. So now because of we probably want to use a different water plane because the water's too dark and we'd never be able to see the fish. So I would say that would be something important to do would be to that would make your project look better. At least so you could see the fish. Would be to import a different water asset in here, and so let's go into water. Water basic. I thought I saw water basic. Environment water basic prefabs. Let's find something a little bit lighter. There we go. And then let's scale that up. And where to go? I don't know. Oh. There we go. We can see our fish swimming around down under there. That's pretty cool. So there's our fish swimming around under the water in Blender. The trick there was we had to attach the fish to an empty parent object because the fish's coordinates are baked into that object's animation, and it will jump to those absolute coordinates in the world system, and we don't. We want those to be local to wherever we put the object. So that was the workaround. So there we go. Make sure you've got some nice swimming fish in your terrain.